Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Reshape Hospitality with Tech. My name is Maria. I am the host of this podcast. On today's episode, we are joined by our special guest, Troy Dixon. He is a seasoned hospitality professional and writer with tons of experience in the hospitality industry. He is currently working as a general manager at Graduate Hotels. In this podcast, we'll talk about his career journey and some amazing industry insights that will reshape the hospitality industry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Can you tell us, our audience, about your career background? When did you start your career? What were some of the initial struggles and challenges you faced in your career? And what's the reason behind joining the hospitality industry?
Yeah, probably my entry story is common to a lot of people. I grew up a little bit in the field in my teens and late teens. My parents had a grocery store that I worked at and started behind the counter waiting on guests, learned how to cut meat, butchered, all that kind of stuff. And then as I got into college, I started working, front of the house and back of the house jobs. I started washing dishes. I was a bus boy. I learned to cook. I started waiting tables. I did really everything, just getting through school. And at that time, it wasn't anything that I was thinking about as a career, right? It was just kind of one of those great jobs to make really good money consistently. And until I found out I wanted to do something else. Um, I got serious about it after the birth of my first daughter, and I was working in Southern California at a place called the Ojai Valley Inn and Spa, and I was a server there for a good while, and then I had my first opportunity to be promoted to a manager job in that role, and I took it. And then, the lights kind of started coming on for me with how much I actually loved it about being around great food and great craft and chefs that were really serious and passionate about what they did. And I just fell in love with it all. And I've been at it ever since.
What important lessons did you learn along the way that motivated you to achieve your current role?
Yeah, I think one thing, and I'm sure this is the following is really in any, in any industry or any organization that requires a team, but in restaurants and hotels, it really is only about team. And as I shared, I did start, my career working as a dishwasher, and I can tell you, moving all the way up and through the ranks over the course of years, and even running several restaurants if your dishwasher calls out sick, you're in trouble that day, right? And so there's really, you learn really quickly. There's no more important position over another. It really only works when you have a great team and a great team that's really aligned with whatever the vision is that you have there for your guests. So I think those were the biggest lessons that I learned that I probably remembered more on the backside. I can't say I was thinking about those things when I was 21 years old washing dishes, for hours on end at night and sweating up a storm. But, as the years went on and some wisdom and experience set in, that was really it. And it really helped to shape my approach to team building and my approach to how I, communicate with people.
When you started your career, were there any people in hospitality who had a big influence on your career growth and success?
Yeah, there's the general manager. It's more of a humbling lesson. The general manager of the Ojai Valley Inn and Spa gave me some great advice that I was just talking about this same advice to my team recently at a meeting. As I shared, I had been promoted to an assistant manager role, and I was very, very passionate about what I was doing, and I was pretty educated about what I was doing, very informed. I studied all the time in my off time, and I was visiting anywhere that I could to learn more about wine and learn more about food, and it was just a passion that I was on fire about. So, as all young people are from time to time, I definitely thought I knew more than I did. And when a role came up in the restaurant for another level position. Um, I was very much about stating my case on why I would be a good person for that role, right? And I remember going into the office of this general manager, Thad Highland, and quite literally and honestly, and embarrassingly now, really politicking for why I would be the best choice. Um, and he was patient and he listened to me, and then he said, "Troy, you might be right, and you might do all of those great things that you said that you're going to do, but you've been in that role for about 5 months, and I don't know if you can do any of them. So why don't you make it easier for me and go back and start doing all those things that you say that you're going to do?" And the lesson, what I left with when I left his office and kind of my tail between my legs, was do the work. And, you know, for a promotion, for any kind of recognition, but really more importantly, just in the day, do the work for the work's sake. And the work is what is going to get you noticed. The work is going to be the thing that really makes a difference, not only with you and your career, but really more importantly with your team and the guests that you're serving. And that's what he left me with when I walked out the door. He's like, "You're having me guess, and I need you to make it obvious." And I took that lesson to heart, and I shared that one. So, to your question, that interaction really shaped a lot of my career and kind of how I went about doing it, was just to kind of roll my sleeves up and put my head down and just do the work.
As you are working as a general manager at Graduate Hotels, which is a boutique brand, it comes under Hilton, right? So,
Correct.
can you tell us more about the hotel? What makes it famous? How many rooms are there? What are some of the top amenities offered by a hotel that will attract guests and keep them coming back?
Correct. Yeah. I think Graduate is a really, really exciting brand of Hilton. It is recently brought on under the Hilton flag just last year, and the Graduate property that I'm overseeing in Oxford came online at the beginning of August. And we're a 236 room property, so small, but not terribly small. And really for room size, we're probably one of the bigger hotels here in Oxford. What's fun and unique about the Graduate brand is that in all of the communities that we're in across the country, we reflect the local color of that college and the cities and towns where they're from. So they're, yes, they are all one brand and all under one flag, but every hotel is really, really unique in how they portray the local flavor and the local color. And they're just a lot of fun. People love, and not everybody, but we definitely fit the niche of a certain traveler that loves a story as part of their stay. And each Graduate just really oozes story and local color, and just brings a little bit, more extra to a curated experience, especially in those towns. So I know Hilton is really, really excited about having the Graduate brand, and I know it's something that they want to grow all over, not only just North America's portfolio, but really all over the world.
Can you also tell us about your role as a general manager? What are your main responsibilities and what key values and goals do you focus on in your leadership style when working with your team? Would love to know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, great question. We're, being, a smallish boutique hotel, my role needs to be really hands-on. We have a great team, and I think if you add, you're asking me what my number one focus is really to make sure that my team, and starting with my team of leaders, has everything that they know, need to be successful every day. So my main role is supporting them, and it's a very hands-on role that has to do with our sales team, which is incredible, our front desk team and hospitality team, our food and beverage team, and our housekeeping team. It's a small knit group, and it is, my role, like I said, is developing them, growing them, and having them is aligned as much as possible with the vision that we have here. So, when you ask day to day, it's a little bit of that all day long, every single day, right? So I'm bouncing from the administrative duties that I have at my desk to supporting the sales team and looking what's coming down the road and how we're keeping the building filled. Um, Over to accounting to make sure that the bills are getting paid and the money's going to the bank. Our housekeeping team and front desk team to make sure that we're executing at a really high level and ensuring that our guests are being taken care of, and our F&B team making sure that we're providing an outstanding experience to everybody every day. So it's your as a GM. I mean, I've worked in larger hotels, smaller hotels. To be good at it and to have any kind of a longevity in your career, you need to be a bit of a jack of all trades. That's for sure.
If we talk on the new technologies in the hotel industry, you must agree that in the hotel industry, technology is key enhancing guest experiences. Some people believe that new technologies like smart rooms technology, AI, chatbots will completely change the hospitality industry. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that there's an integration that is happening. It's evolving, and I think guests love it. I think with Hilton example, our suite of connected room options, I think are really going to change how people stay and travel quite a bit. Especially when the Hilton brand, Hilton honors guests are extremely loyal to Hilton. And, as an honors guest, you're now able, with basic connected room technology, right? So you can, with that application, you are able to choose your room before staying at the hotel. And as you're coming in, you're able to bypass the traditional check-in at the front desk and go directly to your room, use your phone as your key, and get about your day and move right in. The next advances of that technology are going to be integrations of being able to control the lights from your phone, controlling the temperature in the room with your phone. And then they've already recently, over the last year and a half, 2 years, added to where you can control the television from your phone, right? So it's an amenity. When you're asking about amenities early, those amenities I think are fantastic, and guests love them. Where they create opportunities with hospitality is kind of one of the things that I just mentioned. With guests being able to bypass the front desk for your traditional check-in and go over the room, it creates, some it creates opportunity on how and where the humans that are in the hotel can really create those touch points for guests, right? Whether that's answering questions, whether that's, if you have a new guest that's traveling in town, talking to them. And, we have a lot of conversations about this and AI and what that's going to look like for the future. And I just don't think you're ever going to be able to, and I think guests would tell you this as well, you're never going to be able to replace, AI is not going to replace the human beings that are needed for hospitality, right? Because I can go into a room and, I could look up on my phone or a QR code, okay, restaurants in the area or shopping in the area. And I'm looking out the window right now and looking down the square of Oxford, which is a really small town of this. And yeah, I can find those things and I can look on the map and I can see where they go and I could look on a menu. But it takes a human person or human being rather, to bring warmth to that, right? It's nothing's going to replace about me asking the front desk for a restaurant recommendation and somebody just getting really, really excited about their favorite restaurant, like, oh, you have to go over to City Grocery, and the shrimp and grits is amazing, and Juanita's going to take care of you, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That emotional piece is something that AI can't replace. But the marriage of hospitality and technology is happening, and I think there's a lot of things that are really exciting about it.
When it comes to personalization in hospitality, right? What do you consider are the most important personalization trends that will be shaping the future of the industry? And how will personalization enhance guest experiences in the coming years?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. I think the integration that I was just mentioning and kind of talking about that okay, how can we use technology to know our guests better, learn about our guests better, and maybe anticipate their needs a little bit more, right? So I don't know, what would be an example of that, in my world? There's got to be ways, I'm sure, to make it easy without a lot of forms that because tend to be creatures of habit, right? So you would learn, I think, using the technology of AI of what people like, when they travel, what kind of things do they eat when they travel, what are the amenities that they like after a long day of traveling in their room, whether it's a water or some wine or a beer, or if they have kids, what kind of snacks, like that kind of knowledge. And we've done that already, really kind of just almost by hand, right? And trying to create those things. But wouldn't it be great to be able to use that knowledge and that kind of technology and then have those things waiting in the room for somebody, that didn't necessarily ask, right? But you exceed their expectations when they land, that we know you and we want to take care of you as very, very exciting. And A could be just, the new frontier as far as that goes.
What do you think modern guests are expecting from a hotel today? Like, are they mainly looking for the things like high-speed internet or a comfortable room with all the necessary amenities?
I think the answer is that I could probably overcomplicate it with a long answer, but I think in short, guests want everything. Guests want everything at every tier that they're going to, and I think that's where the alignment of expectations is so important. Whether you're a lifestyle brand like us, all the way up to the Waldorf Astoria in New York, that's just now reopening again to a lot of fanfare, or to any of the Hampton Inns that are scattered around the country. Guests want value. If price, if you could be mid to a higher tier, and what we see in Oxford and what I've seen in this market and markets that I've worked at the West Coast, it's not really price that people are pushing ever back on. It's it's value for price. And so it's being able to deliver consistently on what they have. So it's not necessarily, I think you asked a great question. It's not necessarily one thing or the other. It's all of it. It's if we advertise and we say that our room experience is going to be this and the beds are going to be this and the amenities in the bathroom are going to be exceptional, they need to be exceptional. Same with the food and beverage, the service product, the hospitality product. It's just delivering on the promise, right? It's delivering on the promise. And that's what guests love and enjoy. And so, that's what we work really hard to do here. And, as our kind of our mantra here with our team is, with the things that I just told you, everything speaks, right? So it's we can't ever have any kind of tolerance for a light bulb being out or a carpet that wasn't vacuumed or a wall that needed to touch up and paint, right? The every guest, every interaction. So that's the bar as hoteliers that we set for ourselves.
As we talked earlier on the smart room technology, AI, chatbots, so I would like to ask another thing is that, so do you think these new technologies can help increase revenue in the hotel business?
Oh yeah, I can. I can. There's things that, I think that kind of AI and tech chatbot, however, the actual hardware application from, I think it's huge. I think it's huge to be able to, quicken the pace of communication, whether that's from a guest room to the front desk. I need more towels. I'm trying to order room service, making a reservation, here at the restaurant or locally. I think, just like I said earlier, I think that integration is really, really exciting. And it's only going to enhance the stay for people. Yeah.
As you are the general manager at Graduate Hotel, and we were talking about the new technology. So, if I'm going to ask this, what new technology would you like to implement that will enhance the guest experience? And why do you think that technology would be a good fit for your hotel?
Right. Well, the connected room technology that I was telling you all about, that is something that we're getting ready to integrate here at Graduate. So that we didn't come baked in with that. So I think I'm not, I can't speak for all the properties, but we're just coming online with that. So using the connected room and digital key and activating all of those things as far as temperature control and lighting control and television control, I think are going to be great because we, as soon as we cross over into the Hilton brand, starting in August and then really, really ramping up in September, a great many of our guests are Hilton Honors members, and those Hilton Honors members are used to those amenities where they travel all over the world. So getting caught up with that and being aligned with that with the rest of the brand is our kind of next step here, and it's very exciting.
Considering your vast industry experiences, what advice would you give to young professionals those are planning to start their career in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Well, I'm currently the advice I'm getting, I'm putting into a book. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm currently writing a book that I'll be following up, kind of in your footsteps, and putting a podcast together. And I've been sharing everything, really for about the last year, year and a half, out on LinkedIn as far as kind of dripping some of the subject matter out and some of the chapters. And that's really been my focus right now when I'm away from work is pouring everything into this book. And really kind of what came from that, or what was the genesis of that, was working through the pandemic. And I had moved out. I was living in Portland, Oregon at a Hilton and working at that Hilton. And when we shut down, and as everybody knows, Portland shut down really, really quick along with the rest of the West Coast. And so, myself, like a lot of colleagues, had to start looking around all over the rest of the country on where to work. And, ultimately that's how I landed in Oxford. But at first I opened up a couple Hyatt properties in Memphis, Tennessee. And during the pandemic, with very few people available to work. And out of those people, most of the people that had experience and or a lot of talent in the industry uh, had left, right? And that's a story that we've heard all across the country, that people left to go do other things and didn't come back to restaurants and hotels. And it was very evident right away, not only to get this hotel open, but to create a new future, is that we were going to have to build it again. And we were going to have to build it really from the ground up, one person at a time, one leader at a time, to get to that place that we used to really enjoy. Passionate, knowledgeable hospitality professionals that truly love what they do. So that's what inspired me to start on what I'm writing now, and hopefully we'll be sharing it with you and everyone else really soon.
That would be great and really excited for your book. Other than work, can you talk about a little bit about your personal activities you enjoy during your free time?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have three daughters that aren't so young anymore, that are all just. I have two out of college that went to the University of Oregon, and then I have one that just got out of high school. Aside from that, day to day, I read constantly in my off time. I'm a runner, so I'm up pretty early getting a run in before work. My wife and I love to travel as much as possible, and just being outside, enjoying out the outdoors, and friends and family.
That's lovely. So besides that, what's one thing you want to work on in this new resolution that you want to improve about yourself for this year?
Oh, okay. Oh, great. That's a great resolution one. Um, well, my number one is finishing my book. My number one is finishing my book is the first thing. I've been working on it for about a year and a half, and I'm trying to have that done by the end of February. Um, I think the other thing is by the end of the year with my running, I have a new goal. I would like to be able to run a marathon by the end of the year. So I think that's my number one.
Oh, wish you good luck for that,
Thank
Troy.
you.
And you're always welcome. And this bring to an end of our conversation. Thank you once again for joining a podcast, sharing about your career experiences and your interesting insights into the technology and industry as well. They were all amazing and really enjoy it.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed watching today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interviews with industry leaders. Follow us on our social media at Advanced Hospitality Technologies. See you with another guest. Till then, take care and have a great day.